The weight of unsent letters. The letter trembled in my hands, its edges worn from months of being folded and unfolded, never sent. Dear Ethan, it began, the ink smudged where my thumb had lingered too long. I stood in the dim glow of my apartment's kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator filling the silence, my heart pounding as if it knew what I was about to do. I'd written it after our divorce, a desperate attempt to salvage something, friendship, maybe, because I couldn't bear the thought of losing him entirely. But tonight, as I stared at the words, a different truth clawed its way to the surface. Ethan had betrayed me long before I'd ever signed those papers. The apartment smelled of stale coffee and the lavender candle I'd lit to calm my nerves. It wasn't working. My eyes darted to my phone, its screen dark but heavy with the weight of his last message. Can we talk? I miss you. Sent at 2:17 a.m. 3 weeks ago. I'd ignored it, but the words had burrowed into me, stirring memories of his laugh, his touch, the way he'd promised forever. I'd believed him once. Now, I wasn't so sure. It started with small things, the kind you dismiss because love makes you blind. A late-night meeting that stretched too long. A perfume I didn't recognize clinging to his jacket. The way his phone was always face down, a silent sentinel guarding secrets. I'd rationalized it all. He was stressed, overworked, distracted. We were married, after all. Trust was supposed to be our foundation. But doubt is a slow poison, and it had been seeping into me for months before I found the receipt. Tucked in his coat pocket, crumpled like an afterthought, it was from a hotel bar 2 towns over. A bottle of wine, 2 glasses, a date that matched a night he'd said he was working late. I'd stood in our bedroom, the receipt shaking in my hand, the air thick with the scent of his cologne. Ethan. I'd called, my voice thin, fragile. He'd looked up from his laptop, his face a mask of calm. What's this? I'd asked, holding it out like evidence in a trial. Just drinks with a client, he said, his tone smooth, practiced. His eyes, though, those hazel eyes I'd once drowned in, flickered with something I couldn't name. Guilt. Fear. I wanted to believe him, so I did. I let the moment slip, buried the receipt in a drawer, and told myself I was paranoid. But the seed was planted, and it grew in the quiet moments, when he'd leave the room to take a call, when his smile felt rehearsed, when his touch lacked warmth. Now, standing in my kitchen, the letter felt like a confession of my own failure. To see, to act, to trust myself. I set it down and grabbed my phone, my thumb hovering over his name. I needed answers, not platitudes about friendship. I typed, "Meet me. Now." My finger hit send before I could overthink it. The reply came almost instantly. "Where? I'm here for you." My stomach twisted. Here for me. Where was he when I needed him most? We met at the pier, the same place we'd had our first date. The air was sharp with salt and the distant tang of fish, the waves crashing against the pilings like an angry heartbeat. Ethan stood under a street lamp, his silhouette softened by the fog. He looked older, the lines around his eyes deeper, but his smile was the same, charming, disarming, dangerous. "Lila," he said, stepping closer. "I've missed you so much." His voice was warm, but it grated against the raw edges of my heart. I didn't reply, just watched him, searching for the man I'd loved. The man who'd lied. "Why did you text me at 2 a.m.? I asked, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. He blinked, caught off guard. "I was thinking about you," he said, too quickly. "I hate how things ended." I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound that made him flinch. "How they ended? Ethan, they didn't just end. You ended them." I pulled the receipt from my pocket, the one I'd kept like a wound I couldn't stop picking. "Who was she?" His face froze, the mask slipping. "Lila, it's not." "Don't," I snapped, my voice cutting through the fog. "Don't lie to me again." My hands shook, but I held his gaze, daring him to deny it. The silence stretched, heavy, suffocating. Then he sighed, his shoulders slumping. "Her name's Claire," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "It was a mistake. A one-time thing. A one-time thing." The words hit like a slap, but they didn't surprise me. Not anymore. What hurt was the realization that I'd known. Deep down, I'd always known, and I'd let myself believe in the lie of his friendship, his remorse. I stepped back, the pier creaking beneath me, the cold seeping into my bones. Then why ask to meet? I asked, my voice breaking. Why pretend you miss me? He looked at me, his eyes glistening, but I saw it now, the selfishness, the need to keep me close, not out of love, but control. I thought we could still be friends, he said, as if it were that simple. I laughed again, softer this time, the sound swallowed by the waves. Friends don't lie, Ethan. Friends don't betray. I turned, walking away, the letter still unsent in my pocket, its weight lighter now. As I reached the end of the pier, I tore it to pieces, letting the wind carry them into the dark. The truth was enough. I didn't need his friendship, or his lies, anymore.